Welcome to the Retirement Wealth Podcast. We're so glad you're joining us today for what's sure to be an insightful episode.
Absolutely, Emily. Today, we're diving into a topic that's on the minds of many retirees: how to protect your wealth after retirement.
Right, it's such an important area to focus on. You've worked hard for your savings, and it's crucial to ensure it lasts throughout your retirement years.
Exactly. We'll talk about strategies to safeguard your investments, the importance of having a diversified portfolio, and how to navigate potential risks that could impact your retirement funds.
Not to mention, we'll touch on the role of insurance and estate planning too, which can really help in preserving your wealth for the long term.
Yes, and we'll also explore how to adjust your spending habits and maybe even rethink your approach to withdrawals so you can maintain your lifestyle without the stress of outliving your savings.
Sounds like a lot to cover, but I think it's going to be really beneficial for our listeners. So let's jump right in and start with the first step in protecting your wealth after retirement.
You know, Emily, when we talk about protecting wealth after retirement, it's not just a theoretical exercise. It's really about real people facing real challenges right now.
Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest concerns is just how quickly things can change. I mean, look at inflation over the past couple of years. Many retirees are feeling the pinch.
Right. And I remember talking to a couple in their late 60s. They had planned to travel more in retirement, but with rising prices, they're reconsidering. Their budget has tightened significantly, and that's affecting not just their travel plans, but their overall lifestyle.
And it's so easy to feel overwhelmed by that. It's like you work hard for decades, and then suddenly the money doesn't stretch as far as it used to.
Exactly. And let's not forget about market volatility. Just a few months ago, we saw significant fluctuations in the stock market. I had a client who was nearing retirement, and he was really anxious about whether he could rely on his investment portfolio.
That's a common fear, isn't it? You've got all these years of saving, and then the market dips and you start questioning everything.
Definitely. It's why having a solid plan in place is crucial. I think of another client who was really focused on tax efficiency. She knew retirement income could change her tax bracket, and that was keeping her up at night.
Right, and it's something that's often overlooked. Taxes can eat away at your savings if you're not careful.
Exactly. She ended up working with us to strategize her withdrawals, and we found ways to minimize her tax burden, which gave her so much peace of mind.
And that's such an important aspect of retirement planning, feeling secure in your financial choices.
Yes, and then there's Social Security. With all the potential changes in legislation, it's not as simple as it used to be. People are really unsure about when to claim, how much to expect, and what impact it will have on their overall income.
I've heard from several folks who are delaying their claims, thinking they'll get more later, but that can be a double-edged sword.
For sure. I had a client who waited until 70 to claim his benefits, thinking it was the best route, only to find out that he could have used that income earlier to reduce some of his portfolio risk.
That's a tough lesson, but it highlights the importance of understanding how all these pieces fit together.
It really does, and we can't ignore healthcare costs. They're rising faster than inflation, and many retirees don't account for that in their financial plans.
Exactly. I mean, a client of mine had a pretty solid plan, but then she got hit with unexpected medical expenses, and it really derailed her budget.
That's a common scenario. I often tell clients to plan for the unexpected. Build a cushion for those healthcare surprises.
Absolutely, and that cushion can make all the difference.
And let's not forget about legacy planning. Many retirees are not just thinking about themselves anymore. They want to ensure their children or grandchildren are taken care of.
Right, and that can add another layer of complexity to retirement planning. It's not just about living comfortably now, but also thinking about the future.
Exactly. I know of one couple who set up a trust for their grandchildren's education. They wanted to make sure their savings would benefit their family for generations.
That's such a thoughtful approach. It's like, you're not just building wealth for yourself, but for your loved ones too.
Yes, and it often leads to conversations about values and what kind of legacy they want to leave behind.
And that emotional side of financial security is huge. Many retirees feel a sense of peace when they know they've planned well, but it can be so stressful when they feel uncertain.
Definitely. I think we're at a point in time where a lot of these economic trends are converging. People need to be more proactive than ever. The need for strategic planning is paramount.
So true. We've got this perfect storm of challenges: market volatility, rising costs, shifting policies. It's a lot for anyone to navigate.
And that's why it's so important to have a comprehensive plan that takes into account all these factors.
It's like putting together a puzzle, right? Every piece matters, and if one piece is missing, the whole picture can be thrown off.
Exactly. So as we move into discussing core strategies, it's essential to keep these challenges in mind, to really understand why planning is more critical now than ever.
Yes, and those strategies will help listeners feel more empowered to tackle these issues head-on. Let's dive into how they can protect their wealth and ensure a secure retirement.
So, Emily, when we talk about protecting your wealth after retirement, one of the first things that comes to mind is asset allocation.
Right, because how you spread your investments can really impact your long-term success, huh?
Exactly. A common rule of thumb is the 70/30th portfolio, right? That's 70% in stocks and 30% in bonds, which can provide a good balance between growth and stability.
That makes sense. Stocks tend to offer growth potential, while bonds can act as a cushion during downturns.
Yes, and as you age, you might want to gradually shift that allocation to be more conservative. For example, someone in their 70s might consider a 60/40th split or even 50/50 to reduce risk.
And that's important because, you want your money to last through retirement. Speaking of which, let's talk about withdrawal strategies.
Absolutely. One popular guideline is the 4% rule, which suggests that retirees can withdraw 4% of their initial retirement savings each year, adjusted for inflation.
Right, so if someone has $1 million saved, they could withdraw about $40,000 a year, and theoretically, their money should last for 30 years.
Exactly. But keep in mind, the 4% rule is not one size fits all. Market conditions change, and individual needs vary. It's really crucial to have a personalized approach.
So what other strategies can help with withdrawals?
Well, one alternative is the bucket strategy. This involves dividing your assets into different buckets based on when you'll need the money. For instance, you could have a short-term bucket for immediate needs, like cash or short-term bonds, and a long-term bucket for growth, like stocks.
That sounds like a more flexible approach. It allows you to adjust your withdrawals based on market performance, right?
Exactly, and it helps reduce the risk of having to sell investments at a loss during a market downturn. Plus, it can provide peace of mind knowing you have enough liquidity for your short-term needs.
Speaking of liquidity, how do tax-advantaged accounts play into this?
Great question. Accounts like 401ks and IRAs can significantly impact your tax situation in retirement. Withdrawals from traditional 401ks and IRAs are taxed as ordinary income, so it's essential to plan your withdrawals strategically to minimize taxes.
And what about Roth accounts? They're different, right?
Yes, Roth IRAs are funded with after-tax dollars, so qualified withdrawals are tax-free. This can be a powerful tool for tax planning, especially if you expect to be in a higher tax bracket later on.
So if someone thinks their tax rate will increase, it might make sense to have a portion of their retirement savings in a Roth account?
Absolutely. And the beauty is you're not forced to take required minimum distributions or RMDs from a Roth. This can help keep your taxable income lower in retirement.
That's a huge advantage. What about real estate? How does that fit into retirement planning?
Real estate can be a valuable asset class, especially if you own your home outright or have rental properties. They can provide steady income and appreciate over time. Just remember, though, that real estate isn't as liquid as stocks or bonds.
Right, so you need to consider your overall liquidity needs when incorporating real estate.
Exactly. And don't forget about Social Security optimization. Deciding when to start taking Social Security benefits can dramatically affect your lifetime income.
So the longer you wait to claim, the higher your monthly benefit, correct?
Yes, you can increase your benefit by 8% for each year you delay past your full retirement age, up until age 70. It's a significant boost that can really enhance your financial security.
That's a big deal, especially if someone has a longer life expectancy. Now let's touch on diversification. It's a buzzword we hear a lot, but how does it play into wealth protection?
Diversification is crucial. It helps reduce risk by spreading your investments across various asset classes. If one sector is down, others might be up, which can help stabilize your portfolio.
So, a diversified portfolio might include a mix of U.S. stocks, international stocks, bonds, real estate, and maybe even some alternative investments?
Exactly. And it's essential to periodically rebalance your portfolio to maintain your desired asset allocation. This ensures you're not overly exposed to any single investment.
And I imagine tax savings techniques can also play a role in this, right?
For sure. Strategies like tax loss harvesting, where you sell investments that are down to offset gains in other areas, can be very effective. Also, making the most of your tax-advantaged accounts can help reduce your taxable income.
It sounds like there are a lot of moving parts to consider for a solid retirement plan.
Absolutely. And that's why it's essential to work with a financial advisor who understands your unique situation. They can help tailor a strategy that aligns with your goals and risk tolerance.
And we haven't even touched on some of the common pitfalls retirees face, have we?
No, and that's a crucial aspect. Avoiding those pitfalls can make a significant difference in your retirement experience.
Let's dive into that next.
You know, Emily, one of the biggest pitfalls I see with retirees is something called sequence of returns risk.
Wait, that sounds complicated, but I think I get it. It's when the order of your investment returns affects your retirement savings, right?
Exactly. So imagine you've planned for a steady withdrawal from your retirement portfolio, say 4% a year. If the market takes a downturn right after you retire and you're pulling from your principal, those early losses can really hurt.
Oh, wow. So it can actually impact how long your savings last.
Yes, precisely. I had a couple, let's call them Tom and Lisa, who retired in 2020, right when the market was hitting rock bottom. They had a solid plan, but they didn't account for those early losses. They were withdrawing their planned amount, but their investments were losing value.
That does sound stressful. What did they do?
Well, they had to adjust their withdrawals significantly. Instead of living comfortably, they found themselves cutting back on travel and other things they had looked forward to. It was tough for them, and it highlighted how important it is to have a strategy in place for those early years of retirement.
So what's the solution? How can someone avoid falling into that trap?
A good approach is to have a diversified portfolio and consider keeping a cash reserve or bonds for your early retirement years. That way, if the market dips, you're not forced to sell your stocks at a loss.
That makes a lot of sense. And I imagine the right asset allocation plays a huge role in this too, right?
Absolutely. Many retirees underestimate their need for growth. They often shift too much into conservative investments, thinking they're protecting their wealth. But, inflation can erode purchasing power.
Right, because if you're only in cash or bonds, your money isn't growing as it should be, especially over a long retirement.
Exactly. I remember another couple, Jane and Mark, who were super cautious with their investments. They moved everything into fixed income, thinking it was the safest route, but they didn't factor in how long they might live.
So what happened to them?
Well, they ended up running short on funds in their late 80s. They had to rely on family for support, which was not what they envisioned for their retirement.
That's tough. How can someone figure out the right balance for their situation?
It starts with understanding your retirement timeline and your risk tolerance. Working with a financial advisor can help tailor an investment strategy that balances growth and safety.
And what about taxes? I imagine that's another area where people get tripped up.
Oh, for sure. Many retirees overlook the tax implications of their withdrawals, especially when it comes to Social Security. Some folks don't realize that their benefits can be taxed depending on their income level.
That's surprising. I guess a lot of people think it's tax-free.
Exactly. I had a client, let's call him Bob, who claimed his Social Security early at 62. He thought it was a great decision, but he didn't account for the fact that he was still working part-time. His income pushed him into a higher tax bracket, meaning he ended up paying taxes on a portion of his benefits.
Ouch. So, what would you suggest to avoid that?
Planning ahead is key. It's important to consider all sources of retirement income, like pensions, investments, and Social Security, and how they'll impact your overall tax situation.
Got it. I imagine healthcare costs are another big surprise for many retirees.
Definitely. Many underestimate those expenses, thinking Medicare will cover most of their needs. But out-of-pocket costs can add up quickly, especially for long-term care.
That sounds alarming. Do you have any examples?
Yes, I had a client, let's call her Susan, who assumed she'd be fine with just Medicare coverage. But after her husband had a health scare, they quickly realized they needed additional insurance. They hadn't budgeted for that at all, and it put a strain on their finances.
That's a tough wake-up call. How can someone prepare better for healthcare costs?
It's crucial to factor healthcare into your retirement planning. Consider looking into supplemental insurance or long-term care insurance if it makes sense for your situation. And always have an emergency fund set aside for unexpected medical expenses.
Those are great tips. What about claiming Social Security? I've heard that many people claim too early and miss out on benefits.
Yes, that's a common mistake. Delaying Social Security can significantly increase your monthly benefit. I had a couple, let's say Sarah and John, who claimed at 62. They didn't realize that if they had waited until 66, they would have received about 25% more each month.
Wow, that's a big difference. So what's your advice on when to claim?
It really depends on your health and financial situation. If you can afford to wait, it often makes sense to do so. But everyone's situation is unique, so it's worth having a conversation with a financial planner to explore options.
Okay, so it sounds like recognizing these red flags early is crucial. How can someone spot them before they become a major issue?
Absolutely. Regularly reviewing your financial plan, staying informed about your investments, and being proactive about your healthcare needs can really help. Plus, always be open to adjusting your strategy as life circumstances change.
That's such solid advice. So, what would you say are the next steps for someone who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all of this?
Start by assessing your current financial situation. Take a close look at your income sources, expenses, and investments. Then, consider working with a financial advisor who specializes in retirement planning. They can help you create a customized strategy that aligns with your goals.
That sounds like a practical plan. It's all about being prepared, right?
Exactly. The more proactive you are now, the smoother your retirement journey will be.
I really appreciate all these insights, David. It's so important to navigate these challenges with a solid plan in place.
Absolutely, Emily. It's all about making informed decisions and enjoying the retirement you've worked hard for.
And on that note, let's wrap things up. Thank you for sharing your wisdom today, David.
My pleasure, Emily.
And thank you to our listeners for joining us. We hope you found this information helpful as you plan for your retirement. Until next time, take care.
So, Emily, let's dive into some immediate steps that our listeners can take right now to protect their wealth in retirement.
Absolutely. I think one of the first things folks should consider is using some online retirement calculators. You know, platforms like Vanguard, Fidelity, or Schwab have great tools that can help you assess your current situation and project your financial future.
Yeah, those calculators can really provide insight into how much you'll need to withdraw annually and whether your savings will last. It's a good starting point.
Right, and I'd also recommend checking out the Social Security Administration's website, ssa.gov. They have tools there that can help you understand your benefits and when might be the best time to start taking them.
Exactly. And speaking of Social Security, it's worth running different scenarios. You know, like taking benefits at 62 versus 67, just to see how that impacts your overall retirement income.
Yes, and while we're on the topic of planning, I think using tax software can be a game changer too. It helps you understand how your withdrawals will be taxed and can guide you in making more tax-efficient decisions.
For sure. And don't forget about financial planning apps. They can help you keep track of your spending, set budgets, and even remind you to review your portfolio regularly.
That's a great point. Habits like reviewing your portfolio quarterly can make a huge difference. Just a quick check-in to make sure your investments still align with your goals.
Yeah, and running retirement projections regularly, maybe once a year, can also help you stay on track. It's like a health check for your finances.
Exactly. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, I'd suggest seeking out a financial planner. It's never too late to improve your plan, and a professional can offer personalized advice tailored to your situation.
Definitely. And for those who prefer self-education, there are some fantastic books and podcasts out there. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins is a great read for anyone looking to simplify their investment approach.
Oh, I love that one. And there's also the Retirement Answer Man podcast, which dives into practical tips for managing your retirement planning. It's so engaging and informative.
Right, and I think just being proactive about your financial education is key. Even taking the time to read articles or listen to webinars can really broaden your understanding.
And let's not forget the value of joining community groups or forums. Sometimes just sharing experiences with others who are in the same boat can provide new insights and motivation.
You're spot on. Building a support network can enhance your confidence in decision-making. Plus, you never know what tips you might pick up from others.
And if someone feels really unsure about their current plan, they can always start with a simple checklist. Jot down your income sources, expenses, and current investments. It can be a great way to visualize where you stand.
That's a fantastic idea, Emily. Sometimes the act of writing things down can clarify your thoughts and help you see what needs attention.
And speaking of clarity, setting specific financial goals can also help you focus your efforts. Like, do you want to travel more, leave a legacy, or maybe even support a cause you care about?
Absolutely. Those goals can guide your investment choices and help keep you motivated. They give your plan a purpose, which is so important.
Yes! And remember, it's never too late to make changes. Even small adjustments can have a big impact over time.
Right, and just because you're retired doesn't mean you have to stop learning. Staying engaged with your finances is crucial for maintaining your wealth.
So keeping all these tools and habits in mind, it really feels empowering to take control of your retirement plan, doesn't it?
It does. It's all about making informed choices and being proactive. And with these tools in your pocket, you're ready to strengthen your retirement plan.
Absolutely. Now, let's recap what we've covered today.
Well, Emily, as we wrap up today's discussion on how to protect your wealth after retirement, I think it's important to highlight a few key takeaways for our listeners.
Absolutely, David. So first off, we talked about the significance of diversifying your investment portfolio, right? It really helps to spread risk and can provide more stability.
Yes, and then there was the point about having a solid withdrawal strategy. Knowing how much to take out each year is crucial for ensuring your savings last.
Definitely. And we touched on the importance of keeping an eye on healthcare costs, too. Planning for those unexpected medical expenses can really save you a lot of stress down the line.
And let's not forget the role of estate planning. Having a clear plan can protect your assets and ensure your wishes are honored.
Right. It really all comes down to being proactive, doesn't it? Building and protecting your wealth is an ongoing journey.
Exactly, Emily. And it's never too late to start evaluating your strategy or seeking guidance. The more informed you are, the more confident you'll feel about your retirement.
For sure. And speaking of confidence, if you found today's episode helpful, we'd love for you to like, subscribe, and comment on your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have.
And don't forget to share this episode with someone you know who's planning for or is already in retirement. It could really make a difference for them.
Yes, please do. And next time, we'll dive into an important topic, when you should start planning for retirement. It's never too early or too late to start thinking about it.
That's a great topic, Emily. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too, David. Until then, take care and remember, building a secure retirement is all about making informed choices today.
Absolutely. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for joining us.